Sweet Cakers, Andrea Sullivan of Andrea's Sweet Cakes. It's Andrea's Sweet Tips time. If you know me and follow my work, you know that I'm a very whimsical and fun cake decorator, and I've got a couple of signature decorations that I create, one of which is my signature candles. So this episode of Andrea's Sweet Tips, I'm going to cover how to create these two-tone candles. Awesome, right? And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with all your caking buddies, and please subscribe to my channel for future videos. Let's get started. So let's cover the tools and materials required to make our two-tone candle. You're going to require some foam, some yellow gum paste, a piece of 24 gauge wire, some wire snips, dry brush, some red, what's this called, petal dust, water, and a paintbrush. For the candle's body, you're going to need 2 colors of gum paste, a bamboo skewer, palette knife, medium ball tool, fondant smoother, a small rolling pin, and a medium 5-petal flower cutter. The first step to creating the two-tone candle is to make up the flickering flames roughly 12 hours to 24 hours in advance. So we're going to require a piece of 24 gauge wire, something pretty thin. And you're going to cut roughly a 2-inch piece. Now using some gum paste, tinted yellow. We're going to start by rolling a ball. And then we're going to create a very long teardrop shape. You want to taper this out as best as you can. So you're going to be left with a shape like this. Now we're going to add some animation and some life. So I'm just going to start to spiral the flame in my fingers. You can go up in a spiral like that, or you can even go side to side maybe. Kind of like that. Or you can go back and forth, kind of like in a zigzaggy. Maybe you need something a little longer here. Kind of like that. It's best that you change it up. If you're making several of these candles for your cake, you're best to probably do a couple side to side, a few kind of spiraling, just so that way you change it up. Okay, so once you have the desired shape, just put that down. A little bit of water. And now we're going to thread the wire in the very bottom of the flame. Push it up to just when it starts to taper out. So right about there. And then this is ready for your foam block. You can let that dry for about 12 hours before you add some color. Okay, so now it's time to create the body to our candle. Now, as promised, I'm going to show you how to do a two-tone candle. It's so much better than just a single tone. That doesn't make any sense, just a single color. So of course, naturally, I chose pink and blue. Gotta support my own brand, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna warm up my gum paste. I do recommend that you create the candles out of gum paste. You need them to set up nice and firm. Okay, time for the pink. You know what? Sweet tip, I recommend if this is the first time you're creating a two-tone candle, you're probably best to try with white and a solid color. So that way if you make a mistake, you can just crumple the colors together and you'll just get a lighter version of your solid color, opposed to mixing these two colors together and then I'm just gonna get some wacky color that I probably can't repurpose. So, you know, if you're just trying it out for the first time, I definitely recommend going with white and a solid color. Sweet tip. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so we're gonna start. I'm gonna take some away. Don't Don't need too much. I usually can yield 2 candles from a single rope, usually. So let's see. You gotta make sure you work really quickly. So I'll just pop that down. Just start a rough cord. Don't go too thin, because we're gonna further thin it out as we spiral the 2 colors together. Pop it down. Okay. Now we're going to begin to spiral these 2 colors together. So now we're going to begin to fuse our colors together. So we're just going to give a rough roll with our hands. You know, I failed to mention that I don't recommend putting any powdered sugar or shortening or anything onto your gum paste, because it will further dry it out and make it harder for the 2 sides to stick together. As you notice, I didn't add any water. I'm relying on just a natural tackiness to my gum paste. So I'm using a fondant smoother here, and I'm just going to rock back and forth, blending those 2 colors together. Stop every so often and just kind of go up with one hand and down with the other, and that will further spiral your colors together. You do need to work rather quick though. So you can see my colors have bonded nicely together, nice and smooth. I can see it's starting to crack a little bit, so this is a good time to cut these ends off. So as promised, I will be able to get 2 candles. You can get playful, make one shorter, one longer. You can go for 2 perfectly even candles. I'm going to go with 2 perfectly even. And just down the middle, just like that. We're going to give it a nice little roll. Don't really want to play with it too much at this point. Just want to make sure that it's nice and rounded. Okay, so there we've got our 2 candles. I'll keep those in the shot, sorry. We've got our skewers. I'm going to insert the pointy end. So I'm just going to saturate my skewer with a buttload of water. Is that in the shot? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. I find the more water you put on, the easier you can insert the skewer. I'm going to have to bring it right to the edge of my table, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to insert the skewer. Here, I'll turn it around so you guys can see. I've got 2 candles, so if I mess it up, then oh well. So right in the very center, best you can. I like to rock back and forth as I insert. Again, I find that it just helps with inserting. And I'm guiding I could feel the skewer going into the gum paste. So I'm just kind of guiding it with my fingers, making sure I'm not going up or down. We don't want the skewer to poke out. And you don't want to take the skewer all the way up to the top. You're going to have to leave some room for the wick to be inserted. So I can see my skewers right about there. So I'm going to leave it there. Make one more pass with my fondant smoother, just to smooth out any little inconsistencies. So there you have it. There's our nice smoothed out 2-tone candle, ready for the styrofoam block. So let's just insert that. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Sometimes I like the little bit of a bend, a little bit of play, a little whimsy to my candle. But you also want to make sure that it just doesn't look like, hey, there's something hard in there and it's just poking through. So I'm going to play with it a little bit, maybe give it a little bit of a curve. We'll leave it like that, it's fine. Sometimes you can get greedy. And it'd be so perfect, and then it's like, oh, I'm just going to play with this a little bit, and then, I just ruined it. Sometimes you're better off to just leave it alone. We've got one more candle. We're going to thread onto our skewer. Okay, So we're going to saturate the skewer in lots of water. It's almost like a lubrication. I find it helps with inserting the skewer into the candle. And the fact that I'm also using the super pointy end, just kind of forcing my way in there. Okay. This is ready to be thread. I'm just going to give this a quick little pass. It's been sitting on the table, so it's got a bit of a flat side. Okay. Oh, there was water on my thing. Okay. So right in the center, and just twist back and forth as you insert. This helps guide the skewer in. And I'm using my fingers. I can feel the skewer penetrating my candle here. And I'm gonna stop about 75% of the way. So I can feel that my skewer is right about there. We're gonna leave some room for the wire from the flickering flame to be inserted. So this is ready for the styrofoam block. We're just gonna give her one last little pass over. Again, smoothing out any imperfections that we may have caused jabbing that skewer in there. Okay, and that is ready for the styrofoam block. So the body of our candles have been drying for roughly 12 to 24 hours. I mean, that's my recommended amount of time. You definitely can't proceed with the next step without the candle setting up a little bit. So I definitely recommend at least 12 hours of setup time. So now I'm going to show you how to create the little bit of drippy wax that's dripping off the top of the candle. For that, you are going to require some of the same color gum paste, a little bit of blue and a little bit of pink. So we're going to marbleize our two colors together, not over. We don't want to mix the two colors together. We just want them to kind of tango, like hug each other. Just make it a little like that, kind of. I just kind of like twirling and folding. So you can clearly see that it's blue and pink, not just like a purpley color, all muddled together. And I'm just going to flatten with my fingertips. No need to roll it out. But the professional in me wants to. Oh, who am I fooling? There's nothing professional about me. So using the little 5-petal flower cutter. This is my favorite thing. I love repurposing tools. I know that this is a flower, but I'm going to show you how to make it look like drippy wax. So I'm just positioning it so that I have pink and blue in my cut. Bickety bam, like so. So we're gonna flip that upside down into the palm of our hand with a medium ball tool. We're gonna push down a little bit, creating a bit of a well. And now we're gonna drag up onto each petal. Like this, kind of dragging it out. So you have like this cute little flower bowl. A little bit of water or gum glue. Make sure that you brush water up onto all of the petals so that it'll stick down. I've got a candle here that's been drying for a few hours. And just place it right on the top. Just like that. And now you're just going to start to smooth those drippy edges down. You can even use a Dresden tool or a veining tool to kind of play with it some more. Like so. And then I also like to take a ball tool and make just a small little well at the very top. So a little bit of water, and we're just going to pop that on. I'm going to use my veining tool just to, between the drips, create a little bit of a space. And then finally, I'm just going to make a little divot
little well at the top of the candle.
One final step, and then we're all done our candle. Now it's time to dust our little flickering flames. I've got some already dry here. So I'm using carnation petal dust. And it's not a super intense red. It's actually kind of corally, kind of orangey red. So I'm just going to take a dry brush, pick up some of the powder. I like to hold the flame upside down. That's another reason why it needs to be nice and dry. And then in a spiral, like a roundabout motion, I'm just going to start to brush the red on. And I'm twirling the flame in my fingers as I do this. Nice even coverage. A little more powder. It's always best to go in too light than too dark, because you can't really fix the too dark. But you can keep going in, adding more if it's too light. Okay, so once you got the base done, then I'll turn it around, and I'm just gonna repeat the process. Just in a roundabout motion, dragging the color upwards now. You only want to do this about 1/3 of the way up. So I would stop right about there. Now this is ready for the candle body now. Let's put our flame in our candle body now. Grab our candle. Got our candle here. So a little bit of water or gum glue. I feel like a broken record. Should just say water. Everybody uses their own preference, right? I'm using my wire snips to grip the wire. Now we're gonna thread this into the little well. Leave a little bit of that wire exposed, so it actually looks like a flyer. This is gonna be a habit of mine. A fire on the wick. Just play with the position. Don't play with it too much. You don't want to open up that hole. But this is ready for the styrofoam block to dry further. There you have it, we're all done. Our two-tone candle. How freaking cool is this? Totally. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share with your other friend cake decorators, because you're the fuel to my fire. So the more you share, the more I'll keep uploading, and then, hey, we all win, right? So please, come back next week.